Okay, excited to be here, excited about our team this season. I think we have a very good mixture of veteran guys, especially veteran backcourt, which is what it takes to win in college basketball, with Tremont and Skylar logged a lot of miles last year for us, and Skylar the year before that. So really like our veterans. We have a kid, Cavell Bigby Williams, who set out, who was at the University of Oregon, who was on their Final Four team, and Marshall Graves gives us some depth. So I feel like we've got a good mixture of veterans who have been around and some talented, youthful guys. Obviously, we're without one of our veterans, as Wade Sims passed away on the 28th, and that's something that our team's still working on and moving forward and trying to get better as we take it day by day. So we're going to miss him. He was our ultimate glue guy, which is about as good a compliment as you can give as a head coach. He was dependable. He was consistent. He never missed anything, and so we're going to do our best, this year to honor him and to play how he would want us to play, and to play well for Wade. But he's a veteran that we're certainly going to miss. And he was one of the guys that really helped our newcomers understand how things were in the weight room, how we go about things on the court. And so, our newcomers are missing that about Wade as well. But we've got a talented group of new guys. They'll give us some length and athleticism on the perimeter with Javante and Marlon. And then we just get some bulk down low with Naz Reid and Emmett Williams and Darius Day. So we're excited about our team. We're looking forward to getting going here soon. I really like who we are right now. I like where we are right now, but I love who we're going to become. I think we're going to be able to grow into a very, very good team. So with that, I'll take questions. Yeah, certainly. It was a little bit surprising, but I'm not really going to react to what the defense attorney said. I certainly get it, and I know the judge didn't let it in, but I will say I'm very proud of everything I've done as LSU's head coach, and I'm very proud of what we've done at LSU. And we have never, ever done business of any kind with Christian Dawkins or Mr. Dawkins. So, that's what I'll say about that, and I'll certainly move forward from there and take any questions as it relates to our team and our season, and as we move forward here.
Far back, right, Myron? Yeah, I guess not doing any business could be different than not having any conversations. The report is that you had a conversation with Dawkins, but you said, okay, there's some others like involved in it, and referring to a recruit. I have got to shut my door. Here's my thing. I can get you what you need, but it's got to work. Did you have that specific conversation with Christian Dawkins? And if so, what did you mean by that?
I address that in the statement, and then I'm going to move forward and try to talk about my team here moving forward. I address that with the statement.
That's not a yes or no? You're not going to say yes or no?
Now, I address that in my statement. I'm going to move forward and talk about our team. Yes, thank you. Tremont Waters. He was somebody that we recruited late when we got the job. I knew him through a recruiting relationship that we had when I was at VCU, when I was recruiting the East Coast. We actually have a lot of players on our team from the New York tri-state area, and that's where we have some recruiting relationships with myself and my staff based on us having been on the East Coast. Our defense it's a work in progress. We've spent a vast majority of our time working on our defense, trying to improve our defense, trying to get our defense better. But we've got a lot of work, yet to do. Our defense is better. I'm a little bit more concerned about our rebounding. We're getting stops now. We're contesting shots. Part of that's just having a little bit more length, a little bit more athleticism. But we've got to be able to be a little bit more physical, drive people out, rebound the ball, and finish plays. Just being good defensively is not enough if you can't finish the job and finish plays. And so we're spending a lot of our time working on our defense and our rebounding. And then, we're working on changing some defenses as well. So if we can't be great at one, maybe we can be pretty good in a bunch of them and just try to confuse people a little bit. But our defense has got to be a major point of improvement for us this season. Well, yeah, I mean, it's not something that there's a manual for on how to deal with. We've leaned on a lot of people. The first thing is, LSU's given us great support and great people and resources. And, the SEC and the other coaches, everybody's been very supportive of the situation with Wade. But really, I worked for a guy, Oliver Purnell, and he actually had a kid pass away in his sleep when he was the head coach at the University of Dayton. And so I was able to lean on him and get some advice from him. And then Bobby Johnson, the former football coach at Vanderbilt, he had a kid, Kwame Doster, who was I believe he was the freshman of the year in the SEC as a running back or rookie of the year, something like that in the SEC. And he was murdered over Christmas break. I believe it was in Tampa, Florida, or somewhere in Florida. And so I was able to talk to Coach Johnson and just talk about how both of those guys move forward and were able to move on and try to get the team back in as normal of a position. Obviously, normal is relative, and it's a new normal based on not having Wade. But we have a bunch of resources right now. We're working with somebody who's a specialist in post-traumatic stress. He works with the military mainly, but post-traumatic stress comes in a lot of different forms. It's not just military. It's not just, one of the biggest forms, as I've found out as I've studied it, is, people who are in car accidents don't want to get back in a car. And so some of us may have experienced that. And so I'm working with a specialist on that. He was actually in to speak with our team yesterday. And so we're doing everything we can to be there and be resources for our guys. But, every day there's something that you just don't think about that kind of pops up that makes it difficult.
Front row in the middle.
With as heralded as Naz is, how different is it managing expectations for a player that is perceived as a potential lottery pick? Have you done more players like that?
No, I mean, we're fortunate. The Naz and all the freshmen are talented and they're good players. And it's like when we recruited him, we told him we're gonna coach you just like we coach everybody else, and that's we're going to love you hard off the court and spend a lot of time with you. And we're going to coach you when we get between the lines. We're going to coach you. There's certain expectations, and Naz, to his credit, he's done a phenomenal job. He's lost over 30 pounds. He's in the best shape of his life. He's moving well. He's really bought into a kind of a regimented shooting routine. He's shooting the ball as well as he shot it, and so I think we believe in him, and he believes in what we're doing, and I think when you combine both those, you're going to have a good season.
And then how much is the football team's success helping you guys?
I think it's good. They asked me on the set. They said they were talking about Tua. I said no, my favorite quarterback's Burrow. But I think anytime that the football team's successful, you know how it is, Billy. You're in Baton Rouge. I mean, everything in town's better. Everything's better. The food tastes better. Everybody's happier. People wave at you at the stoplights. But as it relates to us, I mean, it's huge for recruiting. Last weekend, we had some very, very good young kids in. This coming weekend, we have a huge, huge weekend. And certainly when we play Alabama, we'll have a lot of recruits in. So anytime the atmosphere is good, and it's one of the best showcases of our university, of our state, of our culture, of everything that makes LSU a great place. I think the football weekends are as good of showcase as you can have for that.
In the front row here on the left.
We saw Tremont last year, obviously, he is back at the goal line. What did you see from him this offseason? Feel like he's going to get a tailor-made stride?
Yeah, I think Tremont, the number one thing he's done, I don't know if you've seen him since he's been here today, but he's changed his body. He's a lot stronger. He's a lot thicker. He's taken his diet very seriously. Not that he didn't take it seriously before, but his diet and his regimen and his recovery. He played 36 minutes a game for us last year in the SEC. That's not easy to do for anybody, much less a freshman. And so I think his body and the way he takes care of his body, he's really improved his jump shot. He led the league in steals last year, or was the top freshman in the league in steals. But he's become a really, really good on-ball team defender. And then his leadership, just being able to talk and help some of these guys. Billy, you talk about some of the younger guys. Tremont was a talented kid too, and he was able to meet and talk to these guys. Hey, this is the expectations. Here's what I maybe would have done a little bit different. If I could go back and redo my freshman year, I may have done these 2 or 3 things a little bit different. So he's been good resource for all our guys as well. But I think, everybody says you make a big jump from your freshman to your sophomore year, and there's no doubt he's going to make a big jump.
Sheldon on the right.
You came here last year, you picked 4 teams in the league. This year you picked 6. What's next? You got so many new guys. What can you tell me about expectations?
Well, I think expectations are high. I certainly hope, I don't think we're sitting around hoping we finish 6th. We weren't sitting around hoping we finished 14th last year either. So, you can't worry about that. We've just got to go to work and do what we do every day. Like I said, I like where we are, but I love where we're going and who we're going to become. And so we've just got to take the steps and process everything every day to become who we know we can become and to reach our potential as a team. And that's how we'll ultimately be judged, is how we're playing down the stretch, how we're doing early on. Later in the season, not necessarily how we're doing early on, because just speaking frankly, we could have some struggles early on. We were counting on Wade. He was a dependable piece, and he was somebody we could put out there and could count on, and we're not going to have that. And so we're going to have some guys out there that are really good players and talented players, but guys who can certainly who will make a few more mistakes than Wade made. And so we're gonna have to live with that, but hopefully that'll help us as we move forward and as we move forward through the season, and help us be a great team later on in the year.
Coach, this is good through 1 year in the SEC, and it's really took a step forward last year. What are your impressions of how deep this league is going into this season?
The league was phenomenal last year, just in terms of the depth of the league, like you said. I think this year it's probably even better. I thought last year we had a lot of pretty good teams, but we didn't really have some elite teams. I think this year we've got some elite teams, some second weekend, Final Four caliber teams. I'm not sure we necessarily had that last year. So I think we've still got great depth and some really, really good teams top to bottom, but I think there's 3 or 4 teams that are elite teams or are very capable of being elite teams. And I think that's really how we take the next step. We got 8 teams in the tournament, which was a phenomenal year, and now we need to get 8 teams in the tournament and have half of them advance to the second weekend and get another one, or probably Commissioner Sankey would like another 1 or 2 in that final weekend.
Jerry Hiddle in second row.
As I understand it, Tremont entered his name in the draft and withdrew. How do you hope you can benefit?
Well, I don't think there's no question in my mind he benefited from that draft process. As a coach, I'm now a big proponent of that. Any of my kids who want to test the waters, I'm gonna have at it. I thought the feedback he got was great, and he heard basically the same things he'd been hearing from us, from other folks, and I thought it was really, really good for him, and I think it's really narrowed his focus and helped him become the player that we all know he can be. So I thought the process was very smooth with him. I thought it was very good, and ultimately it ended well because he came back to us for us. But I think it's going to really end well for him too. I think he'll be much more prepared when he goes to the NBA, and when he's able to get there, I think he'll be much more prepared and will make a much more informed decision on things.
Several guys on a lot of the SEC teams who had the same benefit theoretically.
Right.
What do you think that says? How will that impact, do you think?
I think any team who had guys go through that, I think it's a benefit, because not only does it benefit them think it benefits the rest of your team when they're telling the other guys on the team, hey, this is what the workout was like. Hey, this is what it was like. Hey, this is, they, you know, at one of Tremont's, they broke down film and said, hey, this is what we see. This is, you think you're this, but this is who we think you are. Who you think you are doesn't matter. This is what matters. This is who we think you are. And I think that was a huge benefit to Tremont, and then for him to be able to echo that to other guys, said, hey, this is what they're really looking at. I think that's a major advantage, and I think any team who had somebody go through that process will have that advantage.
What kind of kid is Emmett Williams on the floor?
Emmett's a really, really good kid. I describe him as a very caring person. He has just a heart of gold. On the court, he plays extremely hard. He's tenacious, ferocious, just really goes after the ball. He's a go-getter. But off the court, his personality is a lot different off the court than it is on the court. He's a little quieter, a little more reserved. But he's just one of those kids that everybody's drawn to. He's got a magnetic personality. He did a bunch of volunteer work this summer all across the Baton Rouge community. We just had before the Georgia football game, we had an open practice, and I had to run up the tunnel to go change so I could go into the football game. And I come back down the tunnel, and before the band marches on the floor for the pep rally, he's out there holding kids up from the stands and letting them dunk. So I mean, that's the type person he is. He's a great person with a good heart and plays extremely, extremely hard. With, I don't know if I want to get into that. I don't really want to. That's kind of between him and the NBA and us. We all kind of said we'd keep that in house. But I think him changing his body as a product of what of some of the feedback that he got. His jump shot is much improved. Being able to finish in the lane. I think all those things are products of the feedback that he got. But I don't want to get into all the specifics just because that was really between him and those teams and us. But the things he's improved on, he got those from somewhere.
Any more questions?
All right. Thank you.
Coach?